In last week's episode, we took the first few tentative steps towards brewing a pastry stout, and instantly regretted it. Still, having visited Omnipollo to get advice from the Prince of Pastry himself, and got ourselves all excited about cinnamon bun and Kinder Bueno beers, we've decided to press ahead. And this is episode 2 of an epic 3-parter. This week, it's the double brew day. What could go wrong? Well, lots. Right, well the scene is set for the most epic homebrew that we have ever done on the Craft Beer channel, and I for one am incredibly terrified. But I'm not going to beat about the bush, we did that last week. So I'm going to get into the actual recipe of it when we start the brew day. Today, I'm going to be talking about the technical challenges and prepping all of that. So the first decision that I've made is I'm not going to do 2 brews for the 2 different beers. I'm going to do 1 brew and split it into 2 fermenters. That means that I can get my timing with the adjuncts right. It means I don't have to do 2 separate mashes, 2 probably 3-hour boils, 2 transfers, all that kind of nonsense. So that makes things simpler in one regard, but it also presents me with lots of other issues, which is how am I going to get about 20 kilograms of grain, which is what I need to end up with about 40 litres of very big, very sticky wort. How am I going to fit 20 kilograms of grain into that? I'm not. The limit on that is 13 kilograms, and I'm told by Grainfather that the sweet spot for efficiency, where I'll get the most sugar out of my mash, is around about 10 kilograms. So I'm going to split it pretty much down the middle, do 2 10-kilogram mashes. I'm going to do what's called a reiterated mash. So I do a normal mash, I sparge back to where I've got the same amount of liquid that I started with for the first mash, and then I'm going to mash back into that wort that I've already created. While we're on the topic of the mash, Henoch also said that I should mash at a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you're a home brewer, you've probably just spat out your coffee, tea or beer, depending on the time of day, because generally, to those that don't know, you'd mash in about a 3-to-1 ratio. That means you have a nice wet mash that's easy to stay around, that's easy to deal with, it's not going to dry out, it's not going to get stuck, and it's probably the most efficient ratio to get those sugars, those enzymes working. 1-to-1 is drier than porridge, significantly drier than porridge. And I don't think that I can achieve that on the Grainfather for one simple reason. The Grainfather has a false bottom, which means that there's a gap at the bottom. And also it's got pipework that it uses to pump stuff as it sort of fall-outs the whole time. So basically, if I tried to do a 1-to-1 mash, I'd have most of my mash liquor sat beneath the grain bed, another part of it in the pipe, and only a little bit going through. So I've taken the decision to do a 2-to-1. It's a compromise between 1-to-1 and 3-to-1. So then we get to the boil. Now, in the recipe that we've agreed upon, in fact, the very first email, thinking about it, that Henoch sent to me, it just started with 5-hour boil. No, not with the energy prices as they are. I'm going to do a 3-hour boil. Actually, I joke, it's not only the energy prices, it's also that this brew day with the double mash is already going to be about 9 hours. I don't have 11 hours to spare, so we're going to go for a 3-hour boil, which should give me, it should caramelise lots more sugars, which again means they're not fermentable, but also add caramel flavours, and if I need to, I can boil right down to the point where my gravity is correct. And then that's where the beers, they finally sort of diverged, and we're going to put the different adjuncts in. So I've spent hours and hours trawling the internet, inspired by Henoch in our documentary that we did with Omnipollo, to make sure that I put really great adjuncts in here. I do genuinely believe that this is how we turn a pastry stout from kind of trashy, silly, and almost like a shortcut basically to getting these flavours that we always talk about in beer into something that is of itself very special, as Henoch said, like it's like Michelin star brewing. You should use Michelin star ingredients. So I found some great websites. All the links to everything that I've bought are down below. Having never brewed this before, I have no idea how this is going to turn out. Like I said in last week's episode, this isn't how to brew a pastry stout, it's more how do you brew a pastry stout. So this brew day is going to be full of me checking gravities, it's going to be full of me having genuine issues, genuine surprises thrown at me, and hopefully Brad and beer will keep me sane during the 9 hours I'll be crouched over the Grainfather, praying, wishing, and staring like a pirate down my refractometer to see if we hit the numbers. So I'm going to get all of this ordered. Brad's going to be there on the day, and if it's a disaster, I guess that's good content too. It's a beautiful Monday morning. It's just gone 8, and that's because this is going to be nearly a 9-hour brew day. It's pretty crowded in here. Well, that's because of the amount of malt that's going in. I've already filled one bin up with the first of the mash. So in that bin I have, this is what's left of the Golden Promise, so that's our base malt. That's going to give us most of the alcohol. We've then got some oats. We don't really need to talk about that. Then we've got, this is where it gets interesting. So we've got our Cara Munich. We've got Cara Malt. We've then got DRC, all the Cara and Crystal kind of characters. So double roasted crystal. This is like one of the most tasty malts. Smells like chocolate coated raisins. It's just, God, it's just unreal. And then we've got our roasty malts. We've got chocolate and we've got straight up roasted barley, which smells like you messed up roasting some coffee or burnt your toast. And then somewhere in here, like literally there's so much I cannot find it. There we go, a little bit of melanoidin, which is a malt that I think is brilliant for adding proper kind of biscuit character. Other things I've got to worry about, well, boil over, because I'm going to be going up to 46 litres in here, the absolute max that it can handle. Obviously the gravity, I'm going to be monitoring that all through the day to make sure that I'm hitting the highest numbers I possibly can. I'm mashing in at 68 and that has just hit 67. So it's go time, everybody. I'll see you on and off for the next 9 hours.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Oh yeah, and Brad might turn up at some point. The smell of this is absolutely unreal. I don't know whether I'm brewing beer, brewing coffee, or melting chocolate. It's utterly delicious. 10 kilograms of malt is in. Proper doughy this. Maybe I've gone a bit too dry, Heddock. Okay, so it's a moment of truth. We're coming to the end of the first mash. Well, I say we're coming to the end of the first mash. It's a moment of truth. We're hopefully coming to the end of the first mash. I've got my refractometer, which is a great tool for measuring gravity really quickly, unlike the hydrometer, which you have to cool. So I'm just going to take a measurement of this and see if we're around about 1110. If we are, then we can move on to mash number 2 after a quick sparge. Okay, we've got a little way to go. Okay, so mash 1 is done, just shy of my numbers at 10.95. I'm going to take that because it's done 90 minutes. I don't want to extract any kind of tannins from the grain or anything like that. So, next step is to pull this grain basket out, let it all drip, see how much liquor I collect down there, and then sparge enough to top it up to the same amount of liquor that I had for the first mash. This is, more than ever in homebrewing, this is guesswork because I've got no idea really how much liquor is left, how much wort, I guess, is left in the sparge, in the grist. I think I need another coffee. Okay, mash number 2. Okay, so really strange sensation. Sparge is on, mash is on, but the mash is black as the night. So actually the grain was much thirstier than I thought it was going to be, so I've had to put a lot more liquor in to get it out, and then probably dumped a load of liquid, which is a real shame. That was probably full of sugar, but it's not the most efficient way of brewing, and this is the more efficient way of doing it, which is why pastry stouts are so darn expensive, plus the 100 quid I've spent on adjuncts. Anyway, so now 10 kilograms of grain is about to go in to the already mashed in mash liquor. Let's do this. I've seen lots of brewers on Twitter and on Facebook bitching about Imperial Stout mashes constantly getting stuck, about not getting their gravities, about slow transfers, and I'm having all of these issues. I can't leave this alone because basically I keep getting a stuck mash. It stops draining through, which is super bad because it will superheat any liquid that is at the bottom, it will scorch the bottom, it will denature the enzymes, and it will possibly create a burning flavour in the beer. So it's not a mash rest, it's a mash panic, and I just have to keep on stirring. I mean, you can just see it's just collecting at the top. So hooray, Bradley has arrived.
Aha!
In time for a crisis.
Well, that's what the C stands for in CBC, Crisis Beer Channel, Johnny.
Craft beer crisis.
Yes, exactly. We've got to build the drama, mate. It wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be a fun brew day if something didn't go wrong, right?
Yeah, fundamentally disagree. So what has happened is we're not quite hitting our numbers, which is bonkers because this is where our mash liquor is at right now. It's at 11:15.
Yeah.
I mean, we're nearly at the maximum of this bloody thing, and I don't know if you can see this, but it's like it's caked when you bring it out.
It's a thick, treacly
That's how
soup.
thick it is.
Mate, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's not higher.
I know, I'm starting to question my hydrometer. Also, I'm pretty sure that when we were at Omnipollo, we tried a beer that was this viscous, this level of sugar when it's finished.
Exactly.
So that's the level that Hennock can get his brewery to operate at. So what we're going to do is I've admitted defeat, I've stepped away from Hennock's advice, and I've made my mash liquor the usual thickness that I do, so 3-to-1, in the hope that we can extract a little bit more sugar, and then it's going to be like a 7-hour boil and we'll hit our numbers.
Hey!
Right, the 3-hour boil has been begun. We'll see whether we last 3 hours, because it's not been the smoothest of rides thus far. But now is the time for me to reveal pretty much what your beer is going to taste like.
Okay. I mean, I know what I want it to taste like, Johnny.
Right, okay.
But I know you've gone to sort of the ends of the earth finding the very best. You haven't expensed any trips to Africa or anything, have you?
I mean, I haven't been, but things have travelled quite far.
Okay, come on then.
Let's start with the coffee.
Go on.
Not only have I got you some delicious Brazilian red Cautai coffee, but it's also roasted in collaboration with bloody Motorhead. I want you to read the back out, please.
The Dalai Lama once said, if you don't like Motorhead, fuck you.
There we go. So we're going to have so much character from this. We're talking, like, I wanted to pick stuff that was going to be in line. There's going to be spicy notes, there's going to be milk chocolate kind of vibes, and there's going to be nutty kind of caramel things going on, like nutty brittle stuff. So it's all going to complement the other thing I've got you.
Right, yeah, because I need some more pastry, Johnny.
Yeah?
Give me some pastry.
Okay, so the next thing we've got, all the way...
Yeah, go on.
From Madagascar.
Ooh!
Cannelle cinnamon.
Cinnamon. Nice. So that's my cinnamon rolls.
Exactly. So we've got whole sticks of cinnamon, so we're not adding powder. But
milkiness, Johnny.
Gone for the absolute best that I could.
How am I getting milky?
How are you going to get milkiness?
Yeah.
Well, I suggest that you just reach and grab that little brown packet behind you there.
this guy here.
Yeah, that one there. Yeah,
right. Okay. Do you want me to read it, or do you want to read it out to me?
I'll read it out.
Okay.
Lactose.
Oh, right. Nice.
So that's your beer sorted.
Amazing.
Well, I say sorted. I need to work out how long and when and all that kind of addition stuff.
Yeah.
But then we'll get on to mine. So mine is Kinder Bueno / my wedding cake.
Right.
So the first thing we're going to go for is some Piemonte hazelnuts. Didn't even know until I started this research that Piemonte is famous for its hazelnuts. Already tostada, as they'd say, but I'm going to blend these up and roast them again on Hennock's advice. So the creme de la creme of hazelnuts, twice.
Nice.
And then I've got me some single origin Haiti cacao nibs.
Ooh. From Haiti.
From Haiti.
Right, I wonder why he said Haiti.
So the final thing, we are going to be adding one more thing to your beer and one more thing to my beer that will tie these things together, along with the recipe, of course.
I like it. What have you got?
All the bourbon vanilla. So this is proper bourbon vanilla. Again, Madagascan. And I mean, you can smell it from here. I don't know whether that's from the packaging plant or just through the plastic.
My word. And why is it called bourbon vanilla? Because obviously bourbon is, you know, a bourbon.
Yeah, what came first, the bourbon or the vanilla? Because you obviously get vanillin in the oak that goes into whiskey.
So it must be because the flavour profile of this bad boy is kind of similar to that, right?
Or the other way around, yeah. If you're wondering, yes, this cost a fortune, Bradley.
But it's also going to be sweet as hell, mate.
Exactly. Well, we're going to see whether it's worth about £70 more than just going to your local supermarket.
Easy.
But I think it is.
Easy.
And, you know, if it isn't, we will go, you know what? At the end of the financial year, when Craft Beer Channel goes, we made another loss, Bradley.
Oh, dear.
We might be able to look back and go, probably shouldn't have got Motorhead coffee, Madagascan vanilla, Haiti cacao nibs, and
Piemonte.
designated origin Piemonte hazelnuts. But hey, if a job's worth doing, it's worth putting bourbon vanilla in. So yeah, all of this is going to go into our beers post-fermentation, conditioning. We're going to work out the temperatures, the timings, all of that, and quantities as well. So I've overbought, and that's fine. You know, it's fine that I've overbought because then I can have some delicious coffee and just neck some lactose. Right, so the time has come to transfer the beer. We brewed the same beer in here, obviously, for me and Brad, but by the time they reach the fermenters here, they are not going to be the same beer because nothing has been simple in this brew. Because Brad's has lactose and mine doesn't, but you need to add the lactose hot, we've got to transfer them in a slightly weird way. So first off, we're going to transfer mine into the fermenter without the lactose. Once that's done, we'll pitch the lactose into the kettle, mix it up, make sure it's sanitary, and then transfer Bradley's. So, Benny Hill theme tune, nearly beer time.
So Johnny's half is done. Now we're going to add 500 grams of lactose into my half. Now I'm going to show you this because it is a very, very odd creamy colour. Doesn't really look like any sugar I've seen before. Quite sort of egg yolky. Anyway, this goes in now, and we're going to heat it up and make sure it's all in solution before we add it to my fermenter.
Well, it's been a long day.
Arduous.
When the yeast goes in, it will be 4:30, which means we started 8 hours ago. Although I did say a 9-hour brew day to you.
You did.
That was just to prepare you. I didn't think it was going to take that long. This is our final gravity reading. I've never seen my my hydrometer stick that far out. Brad's hiding for the facial recognition. So should I. There we go. I'll tell you about YouTube, lads. And so now we're going to leave that probably for about 3 weeks. Then the adjuncts will go in. Then, I don't know, could be 2 days, could be a week. I need to work that out. Finally, it's time for a beer. We were drinking a pastry stout at the start of this. We're not going to finish with a pastry stout after today. So instead, we've got a wet hopped Vienna lager from 6 degrees north.
Nice.
Don't say I don't treat you. And now we leave our beer in the hands of the gods of pastry.